Chosen one, let me ask you something, and I need you to be honest with yourself right now. When was the last time you felt God actually listening? When was the last time you prayed and didn't wonder if your words just disappeared into nothing? When was the last time you heard Jesus speak your name and didn't feel like maybe you imagined it? Today, December 28th, Archangel Michael and Jesus say, "You will lose both of us forever." Now listen, I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to manipulate your heart or play games with your faith. But I am here to wake you up, because right now, at this very moment, there are souls, good people, godly people, people who've prayed their whole lives, who are walking toward a spiritual flatline, and they don't even know it. You're a senior. Maybe you're a widow. Maybe a widower. Maybe you're a parent or grandparent who's cried out to heaven so many times you've lost count. And lately, it feels like the line went dead. You still believe. But the feeling, the presence, that warmth you used to sense when you closed your eyes and whispered his name, it's fading. And here's what heaven wants you to know today. What if this moment, December 28th, isn't random? What if your name is flashing on heaven's screen right now, and God is saying, "Don't walk away. Not yet. Not now." Picture this, a hospital monitor. You know that sound, the steady beep, 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 but then it slows, and the flat line is coming, not for your body but for your faith, for your connection, for the one thing that's kept you alive inside when everything else fell apart. And the enemy? He's waiting for that flat line, because once it hits, you stop hearing, you stop feeling, you stop knowing him. And that's when you lose both of them, Michael and Jesus, not because they left you, but because you stopped reaching. I need you to stay with me, all the way to the end, because in the middle of this message, I'm going to tell you the one thing that makes a person actually lose their sense of Jesus completely, and it's not what you think. And at the very end, I'm going to lead you through something that will mark today, December 28th, as the day you turned everything around. Right now, do 3 things. Stay with me to the last second, don't click away. Your soul showed up here for a reason. Type, "I'm still here," in the comments. Let heaven see your name stand up. Share this with one person over 60 who just came to your mind. Don't ignore that nudge. That's not coincidence. That's God. And thank you to every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here, your support, your time, your attention. It all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead. Now let's talk about what heaven is saying to you today. Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, even if it hurts. When was the last time you felt heaven lean close enough to whisper back? When was the last time your prayers didn't feel like they were bouncing off the ceiling and falling back into your lap? When was the last time you woke up and didn't wonder if maybe, just maybe, God finally got tired of waiting on you? Let's be honest. You know this feeling. You've lived it. Maybe you're living it right now. You've been praying for decades. Decades. You prayed for your children when they were little, asking God to keep them close to Him. And now, they don't call, they don't come to church. They look at you like your faith is some old relic from a different time. You prayed for your marriage, and maybe it held together. Or maybe it didn't. You prayed for healing, and the pain still wakes you up at 3 a.m. You prayed for provision, and the bills keep coming while the bank account keeps shrinking. And one by one, the people you loved, the people who prayed with you, who sat next to you in the pews, who knew your story, they're gone. Funerals every few months now, names you can't forget, faces that used to smile at you across the table. And every time you stand at another grave, you feel it. the rope getting thinner, the connection getting weaker, you still believe. I know you do. But belief and feeling are two different things, aren't they? You believe God is real. You believe Jesus died for you. You believe the Bible. But when you close your eyes and try to sense Him, when you reach out in the dark, hoping to feel that warmth, that presence, that peace you used to know, it's like holding onto a rope in the pitch black, and your fingers are tired. So tired. And here's the fear you don't say out loud, the one you bury deep. Maybe I missed my window with God. Maybe He moved on. Maybe I waited too long. That's why when you read the title, "You Will Lose Both of Us Forever," it didn't just sound like words. It touched that secret terror sitting right there in your chest. That maybe your heart is already losing its grip. That maybe the distance you feel isn't temporary. That maybe Jesus and Michael are stepping back, and you're too weary to reach forward. It's like an old photograph you've kept for years. You pull it out sometimes, and the faces are fading. The colors aren't as bright, the details are blurring, and you're terrified, absolutely terrified, that Jesus' face is next. That one morning you'll wake up and you won't be able to picture Him anymore. You won't be able to remember what His voice sounded like in your spirit. You won't be able to feel the comfort that used to flood your soul when you whispered His name. You know what Psalm 22:1 says? David cried it out. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from helping me, and from the words of my groaning?" That's not some distant Bible verse. That's your 3 a.m. That's your hospital bed. That's your kitchen table when the house is empty and the silence is so loud you can't stand it. But here's what nobody tells you. Feeling far from God doesn't mean God moved. It means something else is happening. And in a few minutes, I'm going to show you the one spiritual habit that quietly pushes Jesus to the edge of your life, and most believers over 60 never see it coming. Stay with me. Don't click away, because this might be the last warning before a whole new beginning. See, the enemy is smart. He doesn't come at you with big, obvious sins, not at your age. He doesn't need to. He just lets life wear you down. He lets disappointment pile up. He lets unanswered prayers stack like bricks until they become a wall between you and heaven. And then he whispers, "See, God doesn't care anymore. You're on your own now." And bit by bit, you stop reaching. You stop expecting. You stop believing that anything can really change. You go through the motions. Maybe you still read your Bible. Maybe you still pray before meals. But the fire, the hunger, the desperation to feel Him again, it's gone. And that's when you lose them. Not because Michael stops fighting for you, not because Jesus stops loving you, but because your heart stops reaching, your spirit stops crying out, your soul stops expecting heaven to answer. Hebrews 3:12 warns us, "Beware, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living God." Departing. Not running away in rebellion, just drifting, slowly, quietly, until one day you realize you can't remember the last time you felt Him at all. But here's the truth that's going to set you free tonight. God hasn't moved an inch. He's been standing in the same place, arms wide open, waiting for you to turn around and look at Him again. You think He's tired of you? Read Isaiah 49:15. 1:6. Can a woman forget her nursing child and not have compassion on the son of her womb? Surely they may forget, yet I will not forget you. See, I have inscribed you on the palms of my hands. Your name is carved into His hands, not written in pencil, not typed on a screen, carved, permanent, eternal. You think He's done with you because you're old, because you're tired, because you've stumbled too many times. Listen to what He says in Isaiah 46. 4. Even to your old age I am he, and even to grey hairs I will carry you. I have made, and I will bear, even I will carry, and will deliver you. Grey hairs, that's you, that's me. And he says, I will carry you. So, right now, right this second, I want you to do something. Put your hand on your heart. Go ahead, feel it beating. That's not an accident. That's God keeping you alive, because He's not finished with you yet. And just whisper it out loud, even if your voice shakes, even if tears come. Just say, Lord, don't let me lose you. That's your first step tonight. That's where it starts. Not with perfect faith, not with all the answers, just with a whisper from a tired heart that's still reaching. Because the next thing I'm about to tell you is going to change everything. It's the reason heaven gave me this message for you today, December 28th. It's the reason your name is flashing on heaven's screen right now. So don't you dare click away. I know what you're thinking right now. You're sitting there and part of you is saying, wait a minute, I thought God's love was unconditional. I thought nothing could separate me from the love of Christ. So what do you mean I can lose Him forever? And you're right to ask that question, because here's the truth, and I need you to hear this clearly. God will never stop loving you. Jesus will never stop knocking. But you can absolutely stop answering. Let me say that again, slower this time, because this is where people get confused and end up walking away from everything. God will never abandon you, but you can abandon Him. And if you do it long enough, quietly enough, one small decision at a time, you wake up one day and realize you can't feel Him anymore. You can't hear Him anymore. And worst of all, you don't even miss Him anymore. That's what it means to lose Jesus. Not that He walked away, but that your heart became so hard, so cold, so numb, that His voice sounds like static, and His presence feels like a memory from somebody else's life. Look at what Jesus Himself said in Revelation 3:20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in. You see that? He's knocking. He's standing there. But the door, that's on your side. He won't kick it down. He won't force His way in. He waits. And if you keep ignoring that knock, eventually you stop hearing it altogether. Think about the parable of the lost sheep in Luke 15. Jesus leaves the 99 to go find the one that wandered off. That's beautiful, right? That's mercy. That's love. But here's what people miss. The sheep had to let itself be found. It had to stop running. It had to stop hiding in the thorns and the thickets. Jesus doesn't chase you down and tackle you to the ground. He calls, He searches, He reaches, but you have to respond. And this is where Archangel Michael comes in. In Daniel 12:1, Michael is described as the great prince who stands guard over God's people. He's a warrior, a protector. He fights battles in the heavenly realm that you can't even see. But listen to me carefully. Even the strongest bodyguard in the universe can't protect someone who keeps opening the door to the thief. You ever see those movies where the bodyguard is standing right there, ready to take a bullet, but the person they're protecting keeps sneaking out the back door to meet with danger? That's what's happening spiritually with so many believers right now. Michael is standing guard. Jesus is knocking. But you're walking the other way, telling yourself, I'll get back to this. I'll pray tomorrow. I'll read my Bible next week. I'll deal with my sin later. And day by day, week by week, month by month, your heart gets a little harder. Your faith gets a little quieter. And the enemy? He doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs to distract you long enough for the connection to die. Here's the image I want you to see in your mind right now. Jesus is like a faithful husband, sitting at the dinner table every single night, with a meal prepared, candles lit, waiting for you to come home. And you keep texting, sorry, I'm busy. Maybe tomorrow. One night turns into two turns into a week turns into a year, And after a while, he's still sitting there, the food's still warm, but you've stopped even thinking about coming home. That's not God giving up on you. That's you giving up on him. And the tragedy is, most people don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. Hebrews 3:15 warns us, "Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts." You see that word? Today, not tomorrow, not next month, not when life gets easier or when you feel more spiritual. Today, because every time you ignore his voice, every time you push him to the side, every time you choose comfort over conviction, your heart hardens just a little bit more, and stone doesn't hear whispers. Now here's what I'm about to do. In the next section, I'm going to walk you through 7 quiet warning signs that a believer is dangerously close to losing that sense of Jesus' presence completely. These aren't loud, dramatic sins. These are the subtle, silent killers of faith that nobody talks about. The things that creep in while you're still going to church, still saying prayers, still calling yourself a Christian, but inside, the light's going out. And you don't even know it yet. But before we get there, I need you to do something for me right now. Grab a notebook, grab a pen, and write these words down. Lord, show me where my heart is hardening. Don't rush past that. Don't treat it like a formality. Actually write it. Because if you're still here at this moment, if you haven't clicked away, if something inside you is still awake enough to feel the weight of this message, that's your sign. You're not too far gone. The door's not locked yet. Jesus is still knocking. Michael is still standing guard. But the clock is ticking, and December 28th isn't just another day. It's the day heaven circled your name and said, "This is their moment. Don't let them miss it." So the question is, are you going to open the door, or are you going to let it close for good? Let's find out. Now listen close. What I'm about to show you isn't going to feel good, but it's going to feel true. And truth, real truth, is what saves you, not comfort. You don't lose God in one dramatic moment. You don't wake up one morning and decide, "Today I'm done with Jesus." That's not how it happens. It's quieter than that, slower, like a leak in your soul you didn't even know was there. And by the time you notice, you've been bleeding out for months, maybe years. Heaven is watching, Michael is watching, and they see 7 signs, 7 silent warnings that you're slipping away, not because they're abandoning you, but because you're letting go. Here's the first one. Number 1, bitterness that feels justified. You've been hurt. Someone wronged you. Maybe it was family, maybe it was the church, maybe it was life itself. And you told yourself, "I have every right to feel this way." And you do. But here's what happens. You stopped talking to people. You pulled back. You built walls. And slowly, without even realizing it, you stopped talking to God too. Because bitterness doesn't just block people out. It blocks heaven out. Hebrews 12:15 says, "See to it that no one falls short of the grace of God, and that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble." That root, it's growing, and it's choking your connection to him. Number 2, prayer became background noise. You still pray. Sure. Before meals, before bed, maybe even in church. But be honest, when was the last time you prayed and actually meant it? When was the last time you poured your heart out, got on your knees, and wept before God? Prayer used to be your lifeline. Now it's a ritual, a routine, white noise. Jesus said in Matthew 6-7, "And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words." You're not babbling, you're just empty. And God hears the difference. Number 3, numb scrolling instead of sacred stillness. Here's the test. When you wake up in the morning, what do you reach for first? Your phone or your Bible? When you're feeling anxious, where do you go? Facebook? YouTube? Or do you sit in the silence and let God speak? Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God," but you can't be still anymore. You fill every quiet moment with noise, with distraction, with anything that keeps you from being alone with Him, because deep down, you're afraid of what you'll feel if you actually stop and listen. Number 4. Nostalgia replacing expectation. You talk about God like He's in the past tense. God used to move in my life. I used to feel His presence. He used to answer my prayers. You've turned your faith into a museum. You visit it sometimes. Look at the old miracles. Remember the glory days. But you don't expect anything new. You don't believe He'll move again. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" The answer is no. You don't perceive it, because you've already decided it's over. Number 5. Secret agreements with hopelessness. You haven't said it out loud, but in your heart, in the quiet moments when no one's listening, you've whispered it. It's too late for me now. I'm too old. I've made too many mistakes. God's moved on to someone younger, someone better, someone who didn't mess up as much as I did. And every time you think that thought, you're praying a dark prayer. You're agreeing with the enemy. Romans 8:38-39 tells you that nothing, not height, not depth, not past, not future, can separate you from the love of God. But you've decided it doesn't apply to you. Number 6. Resentment toward God for your pain. This one's hard, but I'm going to say it anyway. You don't say it out loud. You'd never admit it in church. But deep down, in the hidden corners of your heart, you're angry at Him. You've accused Him. Why did you take my spouse? Why didn't you heal me? Why did you let that happen to my child? And that anger, it's building a wall. Job lost everything. His kids, his health, his wealth, and even his wife told him to curse God and die. But Job said in Job 13:15, "Though He slay me, yet will I hope in Him." You've stopped hoping, and that resentment is drowning your faith. Number 7. Pulling away from community. You tell yourself you're tired. You tell yourself you need space. But the truth is, your soul is isolating to die quietly. You stopped going to church. You stopped calling your prayer partner. You stopped showing up. Hebrews 10:25 warns, "Not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another." You've given up, not because you hate God, but because you've convinced yourself it doesn't matter anymore. These aren't explosions, they're slow leaks. Not a sudden divorce from God, a quiet separation. And the enemy? He loves it, because if he can get you to let go slowly, you won't even realize you're gone until it's too late. If even one of these touched you, if even one of these landed in your chest like a stone, don't leave, don't click away. Because in the next part, I'm going to tell you what Archangel Michael is fighting over in your life right now. And why December 28th is not random. Right now, I need you to do something. Type a number in the comments 1 through 7, whichever one hit your heart the hardest. That's your signal to heaven. That's you saying, "I heard you." And hit that like button. Share this message. Because every time you share it, you're putting a sword in Michael's hand for someone else. Now let me tell you what heaven is doing while you're still listening. Right now, this very second, there's a war happening over your name, not your reputation, not your bank account, not even your health. Your name, the one written in the Lamb's Book of Life, the one Jesus whispered when He called you out of darkness, the one that Michael the Archangel stands guard over in the heavenly realms. And the enemy? He's not after your past anymore. He's after your last chapter. Let me paint you a picture, something the Bible shows us, but most people never see. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. There's a courtroom in heaven, not marble and mahogany like down here. This one burns with the glory of God. The air is thick with presence, and in the center stands your name spoken aloud. Jesus is there, right hand of the Father. Hebrews 7:25 says, He always lives to intercede for you. That means right now, at this moment, He's speaking on your behalf. He's saying, this one is mine. I paid for this soul. I bled for this life. And Michael? Revelation 12:7 tells us he wars against the dragon. He's not sitting idle. He's a warrior, sword drawn, standing between you and the accuser who wants to devour what's left of your faith. But here's the part that should shake you awake. You hold the handle. Think of your name as a door. Jesus knocks, Michael guards it. But you decide whether that door stays open or swings shut. And beloved, I need you to hear this with everything in you. The enemy doesn't want your money. He doesn't want your house. He doesn't even want your body to fail. What he wants is far worse. He wants you to die disappointed in God. He wants your last breath to carry the whisper, He forgot about me. He wants your final chapter to read like abandonment instead of victory. Because if he can do that, if he can get you to close the door, to stop reaching, to let the warmth fade into cold silence, then he thinks he wins. Not because he took you from God's hand. No one can do that. But because you stopped feeling God's hand holding yours. And when that happens, you lose them both. Not because they left, but because you stopped hearing. You stopped sensing. You stopped knowing they were there. Now let me tell you something that's going to sound bold, but I believe it with every fiber of my being. December 28th is not a random date on your calendar. I believe God is using this day today as a line in the sand, a moment when heaven leans down and says, decide. Decide right now whose voice you're going to obey for the rest of your days. Will it be the voice of disappointment? The voice that says, you prayed and nothing happened. You believed and got nothing back. Or will it be the voice of the Spirit, the one that whispers, I never left. I've been here the whole time. You just stopped listening? In the spirit realm, beloved, your name is not written in pencil. It's written in the blood of the Lamb, permanent, eternal, unshakable. But here's the danger. Your awareness of it can fade. Like ink left too long in the sun, the letters start to blur in your mind. Not in heaven, never in heaven, but in your perception. And when you can't see it anymore, when you can't feel it anymore, the enemy celebrates. Because a believer who doesn't know they're still loved, a saint who doesn't feel the presence anymore, that's a soul walking toward a flatline. Listen to me. Right now, there are people watching this who haven't felt God in weeks, maybe months. You still go through the motions, you still say grace at dinner, you still flip open your Bible, but the fire is gone, the warmth is missing, and you're terrified to say it out loud because you think it means you've lost him. But what if I told you that's exactly what the enemy wants you to believe? What if the truth is this? You haven't lost Jesus. You've lost your awareness of him. And there's a massive difference. One means it's over. The other means it can be restored right here, right now, today. Michael sees it. He sees the war over your name. He sees the enemy circling, whispering lies, trying to get you to let go in your final years. And he's standing firm, sword raised, saying, not this one, not today. But you have to sit up. I mean that literally. If you're slouched on the couch or lying in bed right now, I need you to sit up, straighten your back, lift your head. It's a sign to heaven, a prophetic gesture that says, I'm still in this fight. I'm still here. I haven't given up. Do it right now. Sit up. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to say a sentence that the enemy hopes you never hear. It's the exact way believers over 60 lose Jesus in their daily life, and most don't even know when it started. This is the part he's terrified you'll discover. So stay with me. Don't look away. don't scroll. Don't let distraction pull you out of this moment, because what I'm about to tell you next could be the difference between a flatline and a resurrection. Let me say this plain. There is one sentence, one single thought, that most people your age carry around like a stone in their chest. And it doesn't sound evil. It doesn't sound like rebellion. In fact, it sounds reasonable, logical, maybe even wise. But it is the very sentence that shuts the door between you and Jesus, between you and Archangel Michael, between you and every miracle, every answered prayer, every divine intervention heaven has been trying to release over your life. You want to know what it is? Here it is. Nothing is going to change for me now. You've said it, maybe not out loud, but you've thought it, late at night when the house is quiet. When you look at your bank account, when you feel that pain in your knee, your back, your chest, when you scroll through the phone and realize no one called today, when you sit at the table alone and remember when it used to be full, you've whispered it in your spirit. This is just how it is now. Nothing's going to change. And listen, I get it. I understand why you'd think that. You've lived long enough to see promises broken. You've buried people you loved. You've watched your body slow down. You've prayed prayers that felt like they hit the ceiling and fell back down on your head. You've been disappointed, betrayed, forgotten by people who said they'd never leave. So somewhere along the way, you made a decision, a quiet vow. You didn't announce it, you didn't write it down, but you said it in your heart. I'm done expecting. I'm done hoping for more. I'll just accept what I have and wait for heaven. And that sentence, that vow, is what's killing your connection to Jesus. Because here's what happens when you stop expecting. Prayer becomes routine. You say the words, but there's no fire behind them, no belief that anything will actually shift. You're just going through the motions because that's what good Christians do. Miracles stop showing up, not because God stopped performing them, but because you cancelled the appointment. You turned off the porch light and then wondered why no one ever visits you anymore. Your spiritual ears go deaf. Jesus is still speaking. Michael is still assigned to you. But you've tuned out the frequency because you've convinced yourself there's nothing new to hear. And here's the part that breaks my heart. You don't lose Jesus because he walks away. You lose him because you stop reaching. It's like this. Imagine you've got a prescription from the best doctor in the world, a cure for everything that's wrong, but you don't pick it up. You don't take the medicine. You just sit there and say, well, I guess I'll just be sick. And then you wonder why you're not healed. That's what this sentence does. It cancels expectation, and expectation is the door through which God moves. Hebrews 11:6 says it straight. Without faith it is impossible to please him, for he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. You see that? A rewarder. Not was, not used to be, is, present tense, right now, today, December 28th. But if you've already decided in your heart that nothing's going to change, then you've shut the door. You've told heaven, no more assignments, no more surprises. I'm good. Just let me coast to the finish line. And Jesus, he won't force his way in. He won't kick down the door. He'll stand there and knock. But if you don't answer, if you don't expect him, if you've already made up your mind that it's over, then you stop sensing him, you stop hearing him, and it feels like he left, but he didn't leave. You stopped expecting him to show up. Let me tell you what this does in the spiritual realm. When you say, nothing will change, you're sending a signal to heaven that says, I'm done. Close my file. I don't need miracles anymore. And Michael, your warrior, your protector, the one assigned to fight for you, he sees that signal, and he steps back. Not because he wants to, but because you dismissed him. It's like you're a general in the army of God, and you just told your troops, "Stand down, we're not fighting anymore." And the enemy? He sees that. He moves in, he takes ground, he whispers, "See, I told you. You're forgotten. You're too old. You're irrelevant." And the worst part? You believe him. But here's the truth. Heaven is screaming at you right now. You are not done. Your story is not over. God has not retired you. You think you're too old for a miracle? Sarah had Isaac at 90. You think you're too tired? Caleb took a mountain at 85 and said, "Give me this hill." You think it's too late? Moses didn't even start his real assignment until he was 80 years old. The Bible is full of people who were written off, counted out, overlooked, forgotten by man, but not by God. And every single one of them had to make a choice: keep expecting or shut down. And I'm telling you today, if you've shut down, if you've said that sentence, if you've made that quiet vow, it's time to break it. Because in the next part of this message, I'm going to reverse that sentence with you. We're going to speak a new vow, a vow that pulls Jesus and heaven's army fully back into the center of your life. Starting tonight, starting right now. But before we go there, I need you to do something. Say this out loud, right now. I don't care if you're alone. I don't care if someone's in the room. Open your mouth and say it. Lord, I break agreement with the thought that nothing can change for me. I expect you again. Say it, because the moment you do, the door opens, the light comes back on, and Jesus steps back into the room you thought he left. Now stay with me, because what comes next is going to change everything. Now here's where everything shifts. You've been carrying this weight, this quiet fear, that maybe your best days are behind you. That maybe God used you once, back when you were younger, stronger, sharper. But now you're just here, waiting, watching the years tick by, watching your body slow down, watching your influence shrink. And the enemy whispers, "You're done, you're forgotten, you're just taking up space." But tonight, December 28th, I'm here to tell you that hell lied to you. Because if you're still breathing, God is still writing. Let me say that again. If you're still breathing, God is still writing. Your story didn't end when you retired. It didn't end when your spouse passed. It didn't end when the diagnosis came. It didn't end when your kids stopped calling. It didn't end when you moved into that small apartment on a fixed income and wondered if anyone even remembers your name anymore. God is not done with you. Listen to me. The Bible is full of people who thought their chapter was closed, and then God ripped the book back open and wrote the most powerful pages of their entire lives. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. Moses was 80 when he stood before Pharaoh. Anna was 84 when she prophesied over the infant Jesus in the temple. John was exiled on an island, old and alone, when God gave him the book of Revelation, the final word of Scripture. God specializes in using people the world has written off. So let me paint you a picture, a prophetic picture. I want you to see this. You, waking up tomorrow morning with purpose burning in your chest. Not dread, not emptiness, purpose. You, picking up the phone and calling that grandchild who's walking away from God, and this time, your words carry weight because heaven backed them. You, praying over your neighborhood, your city, your nation, and angels moving, because your prayers aren't just words anymore, they're warfare. You, walking into a room and the atmosphere shifting because the presence of God on your life is so thick, people feel it before you even speak. That's not fantasy. That's your next chapter if you say yes tonight. But I know what you're thinking. I know the voices in your head right now. I'm on a fixed income. I can barely pay my bills. How am I supposed to do anything for God when I can't even help myself? But God took 5 loaves and 2 fish from a boy and fed 5,000 people. He doesn't need your abundance. He needs your availability. I just got a health diagnosis. My body is breaking down. I'm tired all the time. But God used Paul when he had a thorn in his flesh that never left. Paul said, "When I am weak, then I am strong." 2 Corinthians 12:10. Your weakness isn't disqualifying you, it's positioning you to display His strength. My family is a mess. My kids don't talk to me. My grandkids don't know me. I failed as a parent. But God restored Job's family after he lost everything. He gave him double. The Bible says, "The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former part." Job 42:12. Your latter years can outshine everything that came before. I have so many regrets, so many mistakes. I wasted so much time. But God used Peter after he denied Jesus 3 times. He used David after adultery and murder. He used the thief on the cross in his final breath. Your past doesn't determine your future. Your yes does. You see, the enemy wants you to believe that your life is a movie that already rolled the credits, that the screen went black, that everyone left the theater. But God just added an after-credit scene, and it's the scene that changes everything. Think about it. You're like an old tree still bearing sweet fruit in the middle of a concrete city. Everyone walks past concrete and steel and dead things, but then they see you, still standing, still green, still giving life. They stop, they stare, they whisper, "How is that tree still alive?" And the answer is simple, because the root system goes deeper than what anyone can see. Your root is in Christ, and as long as that root is alive, you will bear fruit. Jesus said it himself, "I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit." John 15:5. You are not dried up. You are not useless. You are not forgotten. You are a branch still connected to the vine, and heaven is about to prove it. So let me be clear. December 28th is not just another day on the calendar. This is a marker. This is a turning point. This is the day you draw a line in the sand and say, "I will not let my last years be bitter. My last years will be bold. I will not fade quietly. I will not surrender to loneliness. I will not let the enemy steal my final chapter. I will rise. I will pray. I will believe. I will fight. I will love. I will speak life. And I will finish strong." Do you hear me? You will finish strong. Now don't click away, because in the next segment I'm going to give you 5 specific actions to take before you go to bed tonight, so that heaven knows you said yes on December 28th. These aren't theories. These are spiritual weapons, and you're going to use them. But first, I need you to do something right now. If you're claiming this as your vow tonight, if you're declaring that your story is not over, type in the comments, "My story isn't over." Let heaven see your name rise up. Let the angels record your yes, because tonight you don't just survive. Tonight you come alive again. Listen to me closely. Right now, in this very moment, you are standing at a crossroads. Not tomorrow, not next week, tonight, December 28th. And what you do in the next few hours will determine whether you walk back into the arms of Jesus and Michael, or whether you slip further into the spiritual fog that's been choking your faith for months, maybe years. I'm about to give you 5 steps, 5 concrete actions, not theories, not suggestions, commands from heaven delivered through me to you. These aren't hard, they're simple. But they require one thing: your willingness to stop drifting and start deciding. Proverbs 27:1 says, "Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring." You don't have tomorrow guaranteed, you have tonight. And heaven is saying, use it. Step 1. Write today's date. Get a piece of paper, a napkin, the back of an envelope. I don't care. Write these words. December 28th, the day I chose not to lose him. That's it. Sign your name under it. This is your contract with heaven, your flag in the ground. When the enemy whispers that nothing changed, you pull out that paper and say, I have proof. I made a decision. I signed it. Step 2. One honest prayer. Not fancy, not long, raw, real. On your knees if you can, sitting in your chair if you can't. Close your eyes and say this: Jesus, I thought I lost you. I'm opening the door again. That's all. He doesn't need eloquence. He needs honesty. In Matthew 6:6, Jesus said, when you pray, go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father who is unseen. Do that tonight. Step 3. One act of reconciliation or kindness. Right now, someone just came to your mind. A son, a daughter, a friend you haven't spoken to in years. That's not random. That's God. Pick up your phone, send a text, leave a voice message. Say, I've been thinking about you. I love you. Don't wait. Ephesians 4:26 says, do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. The sun is going down. Fix it. Step 4. One small sacrifice. Turn off the TV. Put down your phone. For 20-30 minutes, sit with God in quiet. No distractions, just you and Him. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first. You're going to want to fill the silence. Don't. Let Him speak. Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. Be still tonight. Step 5. One public confession of faith. This is the hardest one, but it's the most powerful. Type it in the comments. Call someone. Post it somewhere. Say, I gave my heart back to God tonight. When you confess publicly, you're declaring war on the shame that's kept you silent. Romans 10:9. If you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Declare it tonight. Think of these 5 steps like 5 locks you're clicking shut on the door the enemy used to walk through. Each action is like planting a flag. This territory, my heart, my mind, my last years belong to Jesus. Pause this if you need to, but do at least one of these before you sleep. Then come back and type, done. That's your signature in the Spirit. Now, in the last few minutes, I want to pray over you, not a quick prayer, but a covering. We're going to ask that Archangel Michael and the host of heaven stand guard over your name from this day forward. Listen to me. Tonight, December 28th, could have been the day you drifted further into the cold. The day the distance between you and heaven became so wide you couldn't see across it anymore. But it's not. Instead, let tonight be the day heaven writes beside your name. They turned back to me. Close your eyes. Picture Jesus not in some stained glass window but sitting right beside your bed tonight. He's not leaving. His hand is on the edge of your blanket, whispering, I'm not going anywhere. Now see Archangel Michael at the door of your life, sword drawn, wings spread, looking straight at the enemy and saying, you're not taking this one. Not tonight. Not ever. You haven't lost them. And you're not going to. If you've been far from God, angry, numb, confused, or just too tired, this is your moment. Not tomorrow. Right now. Say this with me, out loud if you can. Jesus, I'm tired of running. I'm tired of pretending I'm fine. I need you. I can't do this alone anymore. Forgive me for the walls I built. Come back into my heart not as a stranger, but as my Lord. I'm yours again. Amen. Father, right now, I'm praying over every soul hearing this, for the widow who cries herself to sleep, for the man haunted by regrets at 3 a.m., For the grandmother watching her grandkids grow up without knowing you. For the senior whose body is breaking and whose faith feels like it's breaking with it. Lord, assign your angels. Let Michael stand guard. Protect their mind from fear, their home from darkness, their sleep from torment. Let them feel you tonight, not as doctrine, but as presence so real they can't deny it. Heal their bodies, Father. The pain in their knees, the ache in their back, the weariness in their bones. Touch them. Heal their hearts too, the parts no doctor can reach. The parts that broke when someone walked away. The parts that shattered when the phone call came. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God." That's not poetry, that's a promise. Tonight, December 28th, that promise is alive over your life. If you prayed with me, say this out loud. I'm not losing you, Jesus. Say it. Let heaven hear it. Let your soul hear it. Now type in the comments, I said yes on December 28. Let that be your line in the sand. This channel isn't entertainment, it's a lifeline. Subscribe so we can walk these next days together. Share this with someone who needs it. You know exactly who. That person just flashed in your mind. That's God. Tomorrow, come back. Replay this message. Let it sink deeper. The enemy is counting on you forgetting. Heaven is counting on you remembering. Today, December 28th, heaven didn't let you lose Jesus, and Jesus refused to lose you. Don't ever forget this night.